Hi everyone, hope you're doing well, being safe and being kind. Welcome to Tarot by the Pines. I am your spooky host for this channel, Jason. So in this video, I'll be pulling some spooky decks out of my collection to participate in a Halloween hashtag, and it is called Trick or Treat Tarot. So if you're interested in seeing what that entails, stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. The hashtag Trick or Treat Tarot was created by Mags Black, who did a fantastic video. Of course, I will put in the video in the description box below. Essentially, the hashtag captures Halloween night. And of course, Halloween is my favorite time of the year, so I had to participate. I had saw this hashtag on Lennon Smith's channel, who did a VR to it. Of course, I will put in her video in the description box below. So the first prompt is the Veil is Lifting deck, which is a deck that's more cultish, traditional, something that is inspiring to tarot. And I would have chosen my Centennial Edition, but sticking to the Halloween theme, I had to go with the Antique Anatomy Tarot. This is a very beautiful but macabre deck, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's full of botanicals, anatomy, skulls, which I'm a huge fan of. This is a deck that you could use throughout the year, not just for Halloween. And I figured this would be a great deck to choose for this prompt because this could perhaps start off Halloween morning, since Halloween gets progressively dark and creepy throughout the evening into the night. So I thought this was a great start. Guising the glow up deck, which is essentially when you start the transformation into Halloween night. And of course, I had to choose my Grand Dame, the Everyday Witch Tarot. It is a very witchy deck. It is full of cute images, and it has a black cat and throughout of each card. It is a very whimsical deck. It reminds me of Harry Potter. It is a deck that I traditionally use throughout the year because it is just a very, what is the word? Adaptive. It just goes throughout the year. It gives great readings, and it's just a fun deck to work with. So of course, the whole transformation into Halloween, your costume, that is a fun process. Stepping out into the dark deck. And this is when you're already ready to go out, you're getting out through the door and stepping out into the darkness, the Halloween night. And of course, I had to choose the Santa Muerte Tarot. This is a deck that's very blunt. It is very in your face. It is a deck that really makes you face death. And death is a pretty scary thing, but this deck is a celebration of life and death, and it's not something to be sad over when death happens. It is a time for celebration. And of course, it goes into Dia los Muertos, Day of the Dead, Santa Muerte. And it's just, a great deck to work with that, again, it just makes you face death, and it puts it more into a positive light. It's something you shouldn't be afraid of. So that's what I really appreciate about this deck, the ghoulish deck. So this is what you essentially encounter throughout your night as you're trick-or-treating. And of course, I had to choose the Beauty of Horror Tarot. This is a very ghoulish deck. It is a deck full of ghouls, and it's a very fun but creepy deck to work with. The images are very traditional, very RWS. It is, it can be very humorous at times and can be also pretty creepy, pretty gross, but it is a good old time. Nothing you should be afraid of. These people are in costumes just as yourself, so it is a fun deck to work with and a great deck to have while you're trick-or-treating. Haunted house deck. So this is when you are coming to get your candy, but you are in front of a pretty creepy haunted house. So I had to go with the Tarot of Haunted House deck. This is a very narrative deck. It tells a story about a girl who's trapped in a haunted house and she is trying to make her way out of it. This is a very movie-inspired kind of artwork. It reminds me of movie posters, and it just reminds me of good old-fashioned 70s or 80s type of haunted house movies. So I figured this was the perfect deck to choose for this. It is fun, it is pretty creepy, and there's no borders, which is awesome. It's just a great deck that will showcase what you'll come across in a haunted house. Knock Knock deck is essentially a deck that you want to get to know more. And this is a prompt that is when you're going up to get your candy, you're knocking on the door, and you don't know what you're expecting. So I chose the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot. This deck is a lot, and that's a good thing. The artwork is very gorgeous. It's very bright, very bold, dark and mysterious. It's a deck that you would work perfectly with on a dark, stormy night. The guidebook goes into a little bit of detail of what card captures of one of his stories. And that's why I say this deck is a lot. If you're not familiar with all of his stories, then this might be a tricky deck to work with. And also, it isn't very traditional in the RWS system, so it kind of strays a little bit. But the guidebook is a great companion piece to help you understand this deck more. So yeah, I am more excited to work with this deck. I don't work with it often, but this is a deck that's perfect for that knock knock prompt. Tell a joke deck. I don't have funny decks in my collection, so this was a little bit of a challenge for me. So this prompt is essentially when after you've knocked on the door, the person opens their door and you say trick or treat, and maybe they want you to tell a joke for that candy. I don't know. So I ultimately chose the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot deck because it is a deck that may look creepy on the outside, but on inside is a big soft teddy bear. It is a fun deck. The artwork is, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. I love the movie, so this deck has a special place in my heart. The deck has pips in it, so if you aren't very familiar with pips, this might be a little deck that's a deck that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it is a fun deck to work with nevertheless. It's cute, it's creepy, and it's humorous. So we have reached the final prompt, and this is the candy deck. So this is essentially after you've gotten your candy, you're going home, you're going to indulge in that sweet goodness, and this deck is a no-brainer for me. This is my ultimate Halloween tarot deck, and for those who know me, knows this is no surprise. It is the Halloween Tarot. This deck has been around since 1996, and it is a deck that no other deck can capture what this deck captures. It is very cute. It captures Halloween to the T, but it still packs that tarot punch that we all know and love. It is just a good time. I always have fun with this deck when I pull it out and work with it. And it is a deck that I ultimately learned tarot with. So this deck has a special place in my heart, and I just love it to pieces. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Mags, thank you for creating this wonderful hashtag. And if you are inclined to participate in this hashtag, of course, I will put the original video in the description box below so you can check that out. Again, thank you so much for watching. Keep being safe, being kind, and I hope you have a great spooky season. Until next time, I will see you for Tarot by the Pines.